So I went to see Warner Brothers DC's The Wonderful Woman the other day. And some of you may be wondering about that tweet that I put out recently, where I said if Wonder Woman ends up being good, I'll eat broccoli. So, how did I feel about it? Yeah, it was okay. Okay, yeah, it was pretty good. I think everybody was pleasantly surprised by the fact that it wasn't absolute garbage like the last few DC movies. It's pretty good, but there are some pretty big problems with it. In my opinion, there are only a few strong flaws that keep Wonder Woman from being a really, really, really great superhero movie. Alright, so that's your warning. This is just gonna be spoilers from here on out. I'm not gonna hold back. I'm gonna assume that everybody else watching past this point has seen the movie. I'm warning you. That was your warning. Alright, let's go. Now, as you watch this movie, there are 4 stages of enjoyment that you will go through. Okay, this can definitely go somewhere. I'm having a pretty good time so far. I am completely not offended by this movie right now. Alright, this is getting cute. This is cute stuff. This is fun. I'm actually having fun watching this movie. Yes! Okay, yes. This is awesome. This is a good movie. I am enjoying myself, thoroughly enjoying myself. Okay, no, you've completely lost me now. The movie is good for an hour and a half until the very end where it starts being really dumb. I so badly wish that the last chunk of this movie never even happened. Aside from the Chris Pine stuff, the whole last fight just feels like it's from a different movie. And this seems to be the general consensus on the movie. Before I went to see it, I wondered how bad could it really be? Like, how could a whole final sequence suck so badly without hurting the glowing critical reception? Well, let's just say that it's bad, but it's not bad enough to ruin the movie. But Jesus Christ, it's just a big dumb CGI Dragon Ball fight, and it feels really out of place. I like the earlier action scenes because they're grounded. There are a lot of special effects, but the action was pretty well done. You know, seeing Diana fight against normal people lets us marvel at her power and see how strong and capable she is. Watching her fight Lucifer and shooting laser beams all over the place, that's the opposite of what we've been watching for 2 hours. I don't really like DC movies, like a lot of you guys, because, you know, I have a brain, but I do like the action scenes in them a little bit more than the Marvel movies. I don't know, you know, you just watch Captain America do karate, and then you watch Black Widow do some karate, and then you watch everybody else do karate, and it's just really boring. DC has a lot of energy in their action scenes, and I really hate Batman vs. Superman, but Batman's fight at the end of the movie is actually one of my favorite superhero action scenes. Yeah, Batman is murdering people, and that bugs me a lot, but if you pretend like it isn't happening, which Zack Snyder has said many times, that that's apparently what you're supposed to do, just pretend that he's not murdering people. God damn it. When you ignore all that, it's a really good and exciting fight scene in an otherwise dumb, boring, stupid movie. You know, I like to make fun of the sped up slow-mo effect because it's really stupid, and I do think it's really lame when put next to real action scenes, but this movie's already so purposefully silly and over the top that I kinda liked it in a way. It felt really flashy and loud and exciting. It felt like I was reading a comic book. The scene where Diana fights in the trench is easily the most moving and heart-pounding scene in the film. It's genuinely heroic in a way that I have not seen in a superhero movie in a really long time. If the ending kept up with this momentum, I could easily place this movie in the top tier of superhero flicks. Now, I think the problem with the climax goes way beyond the fight and the action. After all, the climax is supposed to be a culmination of the events of the film. Diana says many times that her goal is to defeat Ares and stop war. It's very simple. She's a simple lady. But like, Ares is really whack. He jumps in at the last second. We don't have any time to give a shit about him. Now, when the Poison Princess and evil McBad General Man were introduced, I could not take them seriously at all. But I don't think that's a bad thing. The movie is very silly, as I said before, and that's kind of the point. I'll take a movie that's clearly having fun with itself over... yeah, you know. I kid you not, there is a scene where they lock up all the other German generals in a room and gas them to death while they're giggling like little kids outside the door. But you know what? It's fun. Who cares? I'm having fun. I'm having fun watching this movie. I'm having a good time. But the problem is that they feel small time. Diana could crush the Poison Lady in half a second. They even mess with that a little bit in the movie. She even bodies the fuck out of the other guy when she actually fights him. It's not even a close fight, okay? So clearly there has to be a bigger threat for her to face, because that's how the superhero movies have to be, right? But the thing is, Wonder Woman doesn't have an extensive rogues gallery like Batman or Spider-Man. You can't have her fight Lex Luthor or the Joker or anything like that. You have, like, Cheetah. So the people who made this movie said, Wonder Woman's gotta fight a big thing, because that's what you do in superhero movies. You end it with a big fight with a bad guy. Well, you know what people really hate in Batman vs. Superman and Man of Steel and Suicide Squad? Aside from the mischaracterization of classic heroes, and the bad editing, and the bad writing, and the bad everything, other than all that stuff, people really don't like the big, dumb CGI battles at the end. And I'm very thankful that the last fight in this movie is grounded. It takes place in one area, but that's besides the point. I don't feel like this movie needed a big fight at the end. If you want to do a big climactic battle, make it feel climactic. Good superhero movies that do this are Spider-Man 2, and The Dark Knight, just to name a few. We get a whole movie to establish the connection between the hero and the villain, so the final confrontation feels really important. But that wouldn't really work in this movie without ruining the rest of it. If we all knew Ares was there the whole time and we were like looking at him for the whole movie, that kind of ruins the point. How about do something really daring? Don't do a big dumb fight with a monster at the end. Now hear me out. Let me explain a little bit. So Chris Pine's character teaches Diana that people aren't just good or evil. She learns this by seeing the duality of mankind. She loves Chris Pine, but she also knows that he has a dark side, as seen when she comments on how he lies and steals and stuff, and how he's a spy. He technically does not live a very honorable lifestyle. Those lines aren't in there for no reason.
You mean you were lying?
She spends the whole movie learning that her black and white way of thinking is really naive and pretty dumb. And she learns that she was wrong, with the help of Chris Pine's guidance or whatever. But then it doesn't really matter because she fights a guy who's just evil, all black and no white. Then when Ares dies, all the German soldiers crawl out of the wreckage and hug the heroes and stuff, and they're like, oh, it's finally over. What? Were they actually under Ares' control the whole time? I guess Chris Pine was full of shit, huh? So Ares is revealed to be the one pulling the strings. He causes all the wars after all. So every war and conflict is caused by Professor Lupin flying around as a ghost, whispering into people's ears. Yeah, he says that he only nudges them in the direction he wants them to go in, but you're telling me that if he wasn't, then there wouldn't be war? Is Chris Pine full of shit or not? Also, why is he Professor Lupin? Like, he was revealed to be Lupin the whole time, and I thought maybe he would turn into his true form or something. Maybe use the same actor, but with like a different look. Like maybe he'd have different hair, and not just a dumb British mustache. Then he activates his dark side demon assault armor, but even under the armor you can see that he's just Professor Lupin with a stupid mustache. I could not help but laugh out loud when they show the flashback of Ares fighting Zeus, and you see that even back then, he looked like Professor Lupin with a fucking mustache. Why does he look like a normal prissy British guy in the era before recorded time? Were well-groomed mustaches and coiffed hairdos really popular on Mount Olympus? I don't know, as I said, I just wish the whole ending didn't happen at all. If there was no big action scene, would everybody really be upset about it? No, I don't think so. Now it's generally agreed on that The Dark Knight is the best superhero movie. And the climax of that movie isn't some big dumb fight with the bad guy. It shows the true nature of mankind. It has the villain being defeated not by getting beat up or by shooting him with the Kamehameha wave, but with the realization that maybe he was wrong the whole time. Maybe people don't blow each other up if their lives are on the line. Maybe people won't resort to chaos when shit hits the fan. And then Batman beats him up, and it takes like a second. But that's not really the point of the movie. Now, Diana is on a journey of discovery in this movie. She learned about the real world and all the people inhabiting it. She has to teach herself if the mortals are even worth saving. And I think this could have been played with a lot more. Make this the focus of the movie. Maybe Ares didn't exist after all. Or, if he did, if you want to go with that route, maybe he actually was Lupin the whole time, like he was in the actual movie, and he explains that he didn't force anybody to become evil, they just did it on their own, exactly like it happens in the movie. But then, he disappears, and she can't fight him, because he's symbolic. He's, symbolic of the gray morality of mankind. She shouldn't be allowed to fight him. Then she has to come to grips with this reality. She has to decide if she should save everyone after all. Maybe instead of giving her a big fight, give her a problem to fix. Diana should be put up to a test to show that she learned something on this journey of hers. It took a while, but we finally got a DC Cinematic Universe movie that doesn't suck. And it also happens to be a Wonder Woman movie that doesn't suck. Now, unfortunately, the ending falls victim to the same stuff that ruins all of the movies in the DC universe. But I don't want to end this video on a downer note. I don't want to just complain the whole time. I want to talk about stuff in the movie I actually like, because there's a lot of stuff that I like. As I've said in other videos, good directors can get good performances out of people. Ben Affleck is a pretty good actor, but he doesn't get a chance to show that under Zack Snyder's directing, because Zack Snyder likes visuals. I already said all this stuff before with Rogue One. I'm not going to go over this again. Now, Gal Gadot is not very good in Batman vs. Superman, because, but she does a really good job here. Some lines of hers were a little awkward, but as a whole, she really sold me on this version of Diana. She doesn't feel like she comes from the same place as the normal characters, and that's a good thing. She comes across as like a weird, cute, awkward foreign exchange student, who can throw a tank through a fucking skyscraper. And I have no problems with her performance in this movie. She really sold me. She seemed like she was having a lot of fun with the role, and I can really appreciate that. I really hope that she's like half this good in Justice League, because if anything, this movie really sold me on her being our movie version of Wonder Woman for the next few years. And then you have Chris Pine, and Chris Pine fucking killed it. He is so good in this movie. I had my doubts. I admit, I had my doubts about the whole movie, but I especially thought that he was gonna suck. I thought he was gonna be, I'm the jokey, funny man, haha. But no, he felt really natural and really genuine. I was just as invested in him as I was Diana, and it's not even his movie. They managed to make a movie with a female lead, and also have a male co-star, and he doesn't upstage the main actress or fall to the sidelines. I think that's pretty good. Ma'am, you did a really good job. Can you please direct more superhero movies? Because this guy already did a few of them. He's no good at it. I also love the fish out of water sequences. Diana shopping for clothes, stubbornly refusing to leave her magic sword behind while they're walking through the town. These all create the cutest scenes you will ever see in a superhero movie. However, as much as I like all this stuff, it's nothing compared to the number one most amazing thing that this movie does. It makes the hero feel like a hero. Let me explain for a second. I read a lot of comic books, okay? I've been watching superhero movies since they started coming out. They're called superhero movies, and I feel like maybe we forgot about that second word lately. I like heroes who do heroic things, okay? Saving people, standing up for what is right, all that Boy Scout shit, okay? It's very simple. I like that stuff, and you do too, even if you don't know that you do. Because it's been a long time since we've seen a movie where a superhero was actually saving people or going out of their way to be altruistic. Now, saving the world from robots or giant space monsters does not count. You're supposed to do that if you're a superhero. When the Avengers stopped the big army of robots from dropping a city out of the sky, oh no, that does not count. Okay, it feels fake. It doesn't feel real. It feels shallow. It feels superficial. Now, most superhero movies these days focus on superheroes fighting each other. We can't get along. This conflict can't be resolved until we learn to put our differences aside. Superhero movies should be about a message that you're trying to spread. Each hero has their own code of ethics that other heroes may not follow. When you read a Batman comic, you can see Batman refusing to kill people. He goes out of his way to save everyone, even if it's one of his arch enemies. He just doesn't like it when people die, for obvious reasons. One of my favorite scenes of a superhero being a superhero comes from one of my least favorite superhero movies of all time, The Amazing Spider-Man. I fucking hate this movie a lot. But the only thing I don't hate in it is that one scene where Peter saves the kid by giving him his mask. So the kid is like dangling in a car over a river and he's like freaking out. He's like, oh no, somebody save me. So then Peter takes off his mask in order to calm him down because he freaks out when he sees like this spooky fucking weirdo climbing down to save him. And then things get a little rough and Peter needs the kid to climb up to him because he can't really go into the car and grab him. So he tells the kid to put the mask on to inspire him to, have the strength that Spider-Man does so he can climb up and get saved by Peter. It's beautiful. This is exactly how it should be done. Too bad the rest of the movie didn't really have anything that good. Anyway, Wonder Woman is full of this just by having Diana stick to her values. She's a character who genuinely wants to do the right thing, and that leads to the best scene in the whole movie, the trench scene. She hears that people need help, and she doesn't even think twice. No, literally. She does not think twice. Even after Chris Pine says, listen, you can't go save those people, so don't even try because it's impossible. She doesn't listen. She just beelines straight to the action. More superhero movies need to do this because too often we get movies where the heroes just don't feel heroic. It doesn't make you feel good to watch them. They feel like bad people. This is why Wonder Woman is actually a pretty decent superhero movie. And it's worth seeing. It's worth enjoying. Despite all that really dumb stuff at the end. It's still pretty good. So if I had to give it a score, I give it a solid 7 out of 10. Now that may seem low to you, but I like to set a precedent of 5 being my average score. That way the traditional 10-point scale gets used in a more natural way and more numbers get